Welcome to the Practical Mystic Show, where we bring you simple tips and techniques from around the globe to help practical people deal with extraordinary experiences. And now, your favorite scientist, shaman, and sacred clown, and also the show's host, Janine Bolon.
And welcome. This is Janine Bolon, your host. I am so grateful that you're on the show today because we have a fantastic guest by the name of Zoilita Grant. I've known Zoilita for several years, and it's taken us literally almost 3 years to get her on the show. And so she's very engaged. She is a woman who has been involved in fostering human development for over 40 years. She's very sought after because she is a pioneer in the field of hypnotic coaching. She has served as the vice president of the American Council of Hypnosis for 21 years. And then she worked for over 25 years as a psychotherapist and specialized in hypnosis. And just, if that wasn't enough, in the last 12 years, she's also been a hypnotic coach. So her desire is basically to serve not only her peers and the general public, but also to help folks that are in pretty much any environment where they are needing to work with some of the belief systems that are holding them back. She also was part of the Colorado Association of Psychotherapists, and she served as president of that for 6 years. And if you want to go back just a little bit further, she graduated from Berkeley in 1971. So to say that this woman has a few notches in her belt is an understatement. She's had the privilege of managing 2 nonprofits, both the YMCA in El Paso, Texas, and a drug and alcohol program in Bellefontaine, Ohio. Other than a short period of time when she was helping with the drug and alcohol corporate trainer, she has mostly worked in private practice. So you can see this woman was highly engaged, still is, still preaching her message, still walking her talk. And thank you, Zoilita, so much for being on our show today.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. You really touched on things that really were important in my life as I've moved through my life.
And I think that's the thing I am so privileged by is one of the results of the pandemic has been I have been able to be associated with. I get to talk to people who normally it's very difficult to corral you guys because your practice is booming, because you are so engaged. You're traveling all over speaking. And now we finally have some time for one another. So I just want to say thank you for making time in your busy schedule for me. So this is a delight.
Great.
So I just want to kind of slowly turn up the temperature just a little bit here. So we're going to be talking in this show about mindset and tools of transformation and all that, but kind of give us some foundations, some broad strokes about what you see happening and how people can be helped with a few little tips. And then we'll dive deeper into some of the really important work that you're doing now.
So it's really all about your mindset. It's not about your level of spiritual development as much as how that level is affected by your mindset. And your mindset comes from the subconscious mind. The mind is 85% subconscious, 15% conscious. When they disagree, the subconscious wins. That's why people have unhealthy habits, even though they know better. That's why people are bothered by procrastination. It's the number one cause of insomnia. Stuff that is in the subconscious mind. That creates the mindset. It's like a channel that your mind is focused through. And when you change that channel, when you clear the subconscious mind of all of the wounds of the past, all of the perceived failures, all of the things that are the blocks from you being the shining, incredible soul walking your path on the earth. All of that stuff is in the subconscious. And so my life has really been devoted to this phrase, change your mind, change your life. Create by design, not by default.
So create your life, but not by default. I didn't hear that quite right.
So change your mind, change your life. Create by design, not by default.
Correct. And Please realize, my dear listeners, that Zoilita has been saying this since the early 70s. So if you think she's just jumping on the train of pop culture and all that, she is not. She was actually designing programs to help people with this long before it was something that was even considered respectable. I mean, you had quite a few experiences where people really thought you were off the woo-woo train. Do you mind chatting a little bit about that? I mean, it took a while before your private practice was actually seen as having anything viable to offer.
So I came into this world with really strong, intuitive, what we might call psychic gifts. I have always had the ability to perceive energy and to perceive beings that come from a higher level of frequency. I was lucky that my grandma normalized it because it was a hereditary thing in our family. But it was really helpful that she told me it was really important not to just let everyone know about those kinds of gifts. So I think that one of the reasons I got a degree in clinical psychology from Berkeley is because I really could prove to myself I was not crazy, that I just had strong intuitive gifts.
Exactly. Yeah, I have spoken to so many people who are highly successful now, but there was always that, 10 to 20 years of either training or work they did on their own, to use the term shadow self, however you want to talk about that, their own personal demons, if you will, just because they knew that in order for them to be able to really get comfortable in their own skin, that they were going to have to do that kind of work. And that is something that you kind of talk about. So since you're an expert in hypnosis and you've written so many books on the topic in various situations, can you kind of define for us, for people who have psychic gifts, who have the ability to hear their intuition, what are some basic concepts that you can kind of help walk yourself through when you feel really down, like you don't know why you feel depressed, but all of a sudden you do, stuff like that, or you're buzzing along with your day, you're doing fine, and wham, you just feel like this icky goo kind of comes over you, and the next thing you know, you're thinking about the death of something or other, and you weren't thinking of that consciously.
So it is so important that people learn how to take care of their energy body. We have a physical body, a mental body, an emotional body, and an energetic body. And your energetic body, the more conscious you are, the more likely you are to have empathetic qualities, so you can absorb other people's stuff. So this is a practice that I learned from the SAGE community, and I added one more step, but it's basically the practice of every day you ground, you clear, you protect, and you connect. And I added that connection piece, but you connect into divine force, Mother, Father, God, energy, the source, whatever you're comfortable calling it. And when you connect into that energy and you are grounded, cleared, and protected, that energy turns on your GPS. Your GPS, you have a natural GPS, which some people call the code of the soul. But that GPS operates by needing to know where you are and where you want to go, and clearing all self-defeating patterns out to get there. And that's my specialty. I really clear the subconscious.
So talk to us a little bit, before we went on live, I was like, so what are you working on now? What is it that you've got going on now? And you were like, oh, I really want to talk about the steps of transformation. So since you're so excited about this, well, it's an old system, but you're bringing it out in a new way. Chat with us a little bit about that.
So I've been studying hypnosis since I was about 16 years old. When I was 16, I weighed 265 pounds. Today, I weigh 125 pounds.
Congratulations.
So when I was 16, I learned hypnosis, and I hypnotized myself in a year to lose 155 pounds. So that transformed my mind. So I always believed in that transformative experience that you can use through hypnosis. And I've done it personally in private practice. I had a school for 14 years where I certified people as hypnotherapists and hypnotic coaches. And I have now come to the idea of let's make it easy for people. So I created these tools of transformation. They're my MP3s, which are between 14 and 30 minutes that you can fit into your day. They're like a reusable hypnosis session. And then I created these things called neuro meditations. So I've been studying neuroscience for about, I'd say 2.5 years now. And one of the things that neuroscience has told us is you can actually rewire the mind. You can rewire the mind in under 22 minutes by utilizing a combination of visual images and words, the right images and words. And so I made these 3 mindset neuro meditations. The mindset for weight mastery, the mindset for health, and the mindset for prosperity. And prosperity is your whole life, the whole wheel of life. Your career, your body, your relationships, your finances, your spirituality, all of the things of your life. And when you are in prosperity consciousness, you're at least the 80th percentile in all areas. So these mindset neuro meditations are on sale along with my MP3s for 50% with a code, Fall 2020. And they are really incredibly powerful for transforming people. And so when I was trying to figure out how to tell people about what's essentially a new product, I thought about what are their benefits, okay? So the benefits of these are, they are the keys to the subconscious. You have to get into the subconscious to clear the blocks that were created by your experiences of life. They are planet friendly. You download them into your devices. And each of them has 2 or 3 downloads, so you can put them on your phone, you can put them on your computer, your tablet. And they are fast, effective, and efficient. And when you clear out the subconscious and you align it with conscious goals, you unleash peak performance.
And I know a lot of us are always looking for a way to perform better, because a lot of the folks I seem to attract on my shows are folks who are what I call the leader-servant types. They really are leaders, but they actually are serving their community by literally walking their talk. They walk in as much authenticity as they know how in each moment. And so talk to us a little bit about how you, with your coaching and the type of clients, how you can help them create that mindset for success as they move forward and they are leading a community. Realize these people have learned how to lead. Now, how can you help them reach that peak performance?
I think one of the things that's important to recognize is that most people are carrying around a gunny sack full of junk from their subconscious mind. So that if there is unresolved stuff in the subconscious, and the subconscious is literally your cells that store electromagnetically and biochemically your experiences of life, your reactions, anything that was experienced with trauma is like in capital letters. So that as you wander around life and you find an experience, and in a nanosecond, it goes through memory and it hits into another experience. from your past and you become triggered, or you become stuffing your feelings rather than just being fully authentic and present. You constrict your body, your breathing. All of those things have impact on performance. So when you get them out of the subconscious, you are allowing yourself to step through the door, to the bright tomorrow. And that's why I'm offering a December special of my services. I'm going to do a hypnotic clearing so that you can walk into the new year as the new you that you decide upon, with a customized MP3 that I will make of our process for you to be able to reuse for $195. And
that is, forgive me for cutting in, that is quite a wonderful process. I assure you people that most of the psychotherapists that have the level of training that Zoilita has, they charge a lot more for these type of, and it truly is a gift at the level that she's operating. But if you don't mind, I would like to go back real quick, and I know what you're offering, and I say thank you to that, and we'll put it in the description below of this podcast. But what I would really like you to talk about a little bit is some examples in your work where you have been able to help people unload that gunny sack of stuff from trauma, because I'm an analytical biochemist by training. And so in biochemistry, it's all about the cascade effect. We talk about cascades all the time, how an emotion can come in and trigger a chemical reaction in your brain. And that's that triggering and then the emotional response. And, you know, it's all kind of kit and caboodle tied in together. And so
Absolutely.
you and I come at it from different perspectives, but we're all saying the same thing, literally, which is you have control, maybe not of your first reaction, but you have control of the second thought. You have control of the second level of that cascade. So what are some things that, say, a person is doing the dishes, you know, they're just putting dishes in the dishwasher, something very mundane. And they've had a really good day up to this point. You know, they're in a good mood. They're doing the dishes. They're feeling very productive in whatever they're doing. And boom, something happens. They get hit with something, and it starts that cascade. Are there a few things that you can offer? Yeah, to kind of help them to pivot out of that space.
The first thing is to put the attention on the breath. Okay, because when the breath starts to become restricted, it's going to trigger that reticular activating system that starts the chemical cascade. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to start inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Letting that cycle become a cycle of letting go. Letting go, looking at the body, feeling where are there places of tension. Tension is usually hiding in the back of the neck and the shoulders or in the guts. As you're inhaling in, exhaling out, you could put a color. You could inhale a pale, soft, soothing green, allowing slight memories of scenes from nature to play on the wallpaper of the biocomputer. So you can do that for like 2 to 3 minutes and have a significant impact on rebooting the stress reaction. It's so about stress. You know, stress is like a fulcrum that anxiety and depression is sitting on. And when you become highly stressed, you have a tendency to tip into anxiety and depression. And very often people will go back and forth. They'll get depressed and they won't do their tasks, and they'll feel like they're falling behind, and then they'll feel anxious and they'll begin to amp themselves up. And this is very true about entrepreneurial personalities. that they operate in that kind of framework. You know, in my life, one of the ways that I kept myself excited about my career is I've really focused a lot on changing niches. And for 5 or 6 years, I worked primarily with entrepreneurial business people. And an example that I have was a husband and wife chiropractic team who were very good, but constantly were running out of money. And there were like blocks in their subconscious around prosperity. And the husband, for example, had some core memory about his father ranting about how evil rich people were. And that created that emotional cascade in him, which resulted in procrastination and avoidance.
And we hear about that so much. From my side, from the shamanistic and metaphysical side, I know that a lot of people that come to me for assistance with abundance, it is the scarcity mentality. If I'm going to be very spiritual, if I have received these gifts, I want to give them free. And they walk around with what I call the old beggar bowl mentality, because that was the way tribes used to take care of each other. Was the spiritual person would have some sort of gift or whatever, and then they would walk around with the beggar bowl and they would get their food or what have you. And I'm like, well, we're now in the year 2000, and those sorts of mindsets will no longer serve you, because our tribes look very different now. And so we're going to have to find new modalities. So I'll also make sure people come and chat with you, because the subconscious mind can keep a whole host of things and belief systems in play, even though you think consciously you've cleared it, even though you think you've dealt with the shadow.
Ratio. Okay, you have a scientific mind. Think about that ratio. 85% is subconscious. 15% is conscious. And when they disagree, the subconscious wins. The subconscious cheats. It creates bad habits, insomnia, procrastination, avoidance, denial. But it always wins.
Right, right. That is true. And that's one of those things that even though somebody may have a very strong determination, or they're very disciplined, or they have a strong will, and they'll think, why can't I just fix this, this problem I have with my weight? Or, I've heard incredibly disciplined, successful people struggle with either weight or alcohol addiction or something like that, but they're successful in every other area of their life. I mean, they're amazing. But like you say, there's that stuff underneath that people like yourself can help folks. Well, before we wrap up the rest of this session here, is there anything else you wish to share with the listeners before we go?
I really encourage you all to pay attention to your mind. I have these 3 things which I call the 3 M's. And the first one is maximize the mind. Maximize the mind. Learn meditation, learn self-hypnosis. They're easy to learn, and they'll make a credible difference. The second one is really maintain an optimistic attitude. Focus on hope. Focus on the things that make you feel good. Even though we're walking through dark times, keep focusing on positive. And the last one is monitor your self-talk. Your self-talk is really what's creating a lot of your actions and behaviors. So if you hear voices in your head, 90% of the time, it doesn't mean you're crazy. It means you're self-aware. So pay attention to those voices and challenge the voices. Become a supportive inner manager of you. And always remember, when you change your life, if you want to change your life, you have to change your mind. And then you can create by design the life you want.
So if somebody wants to get a hold of you, or they want to make good on these wonderful gifts that you've offered them, how do they get in contact you?
So 303-834-5040, or Zoilita, and Zoilita has 2 I's, Zoilita, at zoilitagrant.net. And my website is www.mindset-for-success.org.
Zoilita, thank you so much. I don't know about anybody else, but when you were walking us through that tiny little tip of just how to relax and breathe into your body, and next thing I know, I was like, man, I'm going to have to wake myself up. It was very relaxing. So I know your tools, I know your tips, and I just want to say thank you for all the years of work that you have done and you continue to do to raise the understanding of this planet. You are cherished. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
This has been the Practical Mystic Show with Janine Bolon. For show notes, resources, and more, visit the8gates.com. Thanks for listening.